You're about to deal with forces you can't possibly comprehend.
You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And we're back at you again on the Going North podcast, where we bring you some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today is no different. Because we got a self-help author, a 3-year entrepreneur, and a fellow public speaker. And on top of that, she's a fellow millennial like myself. Yes, indeed. A millennial and an entrepreneurship coach that coaches millennial entrepreneurs on how to achieve their goals quickly and efficiently by tapping into and fully utilizing the power of the 3 human energy sources. And on top of that, this fabulous lady right here started her business in 2015 and has facilitated workshops and has hosted and been featured on panels and in books and on blog sites. On just a few of them is just 10,000 Coffee, CBC Radio, The Gleaner, Rogers TV, USA Weekly, and many more. And she gets to add this to her repertoire of a highlight reel train. So let's give it up for the lady that all the guys have been looking for their whole life, Ms. Brooke Write. How are you today, ma'am?
Wow, I love that introduction. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing fabulous. You should have known him because you used that at least once or twice during this interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pun all intended. The puns are always intended. We keep the puns on the bun.
I like that.
Woohoo! Good. All right. So that means the cornfield continues to expand. Well, speaking of expanding, all introduction not allowed to be 38 days long, so mind filling in some gaps where I missed some things in introduction.
You pretty much got everything to the T, just a few years difference. So like I did overall start my journey. Well, I kind of go back even further in 2015. Like I started my wellness journey in 2012, 2013. And so that's what led me into combining or intertwining like the concept of entrepreneurship and wellness together. So when I started my wellness journey in 2012, and then I was led to being an entrepreneur in 2016. And then I had a social media business from 2016 up until like last year. And I decided to shut it down to focus on a whole new business, which is the coaching and putting my all into like the public speaking, workshop facilitation and whatnot. And so what I realized is like me being an entrepreneur, especially for so long, one of the key things that we need to learn is to, tap into ourselves, especially tap into our mind, body, and spirit in order to stay on the journey so we don't quit, build our resilience and just have a strong mindset and whatever. And so that's why I decided to combine and intertwine wellness and entrepreneurship. I feel like you can't really talk about one without the other.
So it sounds like you got a patchwork quilt going on there. Yeah, 2012, man, that was one heck of a year. Man, that was one heck of a year. They predicted that the world was going to end, but all in all, we just really lost Twinkies for a month. That's all that really happened.
Yeah, it's a very interesting year.
That's right. So it looks like the old you ended that year too, because you focused more onto 2013 and you published your first book in 2014.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not quite sure what happened, to be honest. Like, I always try to think about what struck me, what sparked me to begin my journey of healing, because that's really what it was in 2012. Was like I decided to heal myself from the traumatic stuff that I went through in life. And so 2012 was kind of like my shifting year, and that's when like I really started to like tap in. I chose that I wanted to be different. I chose that I wanted to create a different life. I really do believe like, life is what you make it, so you have to make it what you want. And so that year, that kind of just stuck with me too. And I'm just like, I don't want to be feeling this way anymore. I don't want to be having the same outcomes. I don't want to be tracking these things anymore. And so in 2012, yeah, for me, that was definitely like my personal shifting year.
Oh yeah, with a big I-N, or should I say a capital I-N.
Hmm.
Probably had to make a big inward change.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. And I hear that you had to overcome like a huge setback in 2015 with wellness, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was at 190 pounds, right? And then you lost, what was it, like around 40 or 50 pounds to get to like your fighting weight, metaphorically speaking?
Well, yeah, so that was the next shifting year. So after I started to change from like 2012, things started to like, pick up, become better over the years. But then 2015, what happened was I actually got fired from a job a day before my birthday. And
Oh,
that was like in April. And so after that, kind of like the whole year kind of just went downhill. So yeah, I had like a lot of weight gain on. That's from like a whole other situation. But like I gained a lot of weight. And then of course, like after that, when I got fired, I was kind of like just mentally, emotionally, financially stuck. And then it was around like maybe fall of 2015 when I decided like, no, like I don't want to, again, so it was another shifting moment where I'm like, I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to keep attracting these things. I want to change my life. And then, yeah, so that's what I did. So then, yeah, that's when I decided to, lose the weight. I decided to again get my mind in check, get my spirit in check, and all that kind of stuff. And then that's what led me into starting my business in 2016. So I always say like 2015, although it was like the worst year ever, it was also like a really a year of blessings, because if that year didn't happen, I don't know if I would be an entrepreneur today.
oh yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It's kind of funny how that works. It's like, yeah, and it like, it's like you're in the trenches of that moment. You really hate it and you're really
Hmm.
going through it. And out of nowhere, after the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, like, shoot, I got freaking content now. It's like, yeah, I can actually go out and share the story with the world, inspire the masses and the molasses.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Kind of like that whole think and grow rich principle. It's like, yeah, that whole 3 feet from gold thing.
Right? Yeah. And that's why I think it's so important, like to have, that's why it's so important, especially as an entrepreneur, right? You have to have that mindset, that resilience, that emotional intelligence, in order to get through stuff like that. Because it's not like the challenges are not going to happen. It's not like we're not going to go through the ups and downs in life. So that's why it's important to make sure that you are built for this, built for the journey. Because again, it's inevitable. So you have to know what to do when things like this does happen.
Yes, indeed. So, since you mentioned that mental shift and the mental toughness, was probably the top two things that have really helped you to make that shift.
In 2015, I would definitely say the top two. It was definitely getting in touch with myself. So that it's hard to say. I don't know if it's the top two. I think because I honestly feel like it's all one. I feel like it's all a cycle. And so getting in touch with myself required, to getting to connect with my spirit, was to get my mind in check, to work on my mindset, to build that resilience and to build that emotional well-being, that emotional power, in order for me to get through it. Because I feel like again, it's all connected. I don't think you can really do one without the other. You need to have a strong mindset. You need to be resilient. You need to have that emotional positivity, or that strength within you in order to get through. And so, everything helped. If we're talking about like activities, everything helped. It was the exercising, it was the meditations, it was the journaling, it was going for walks, it was everything. It was listening to motivational people, it was learning all these different things is what kept me going. I don't think for me personally, I don't know if doing one thing, just exercising would have helped me enough. Like I think again, everything was connected. So working on my entire self, mind, body, and spirit is what got me to overcome that year, and especially to even be able to tap in to realize like, okay, in order for me to get out of this stuck zone, that's, because it was my spirit that told me, start a business. Because I sat there and I was meditating or reflecting. And I'm like, okay, I need the answer. Like, what can I do to get out of this situation? And then my spirit told me, like, start a business. And I feel like if I didn't work on myself in that way, especially spiritually, would I have gotten that answer? I don't think so. Again, I don't think exercising or just eating right or just journaling would have helped me. I think everything all together helped me.
Ah, So can't have the peanut butter without the jelly. I got you.
Exactly. You know, it's a whole combo.
That's right. Like a two-piece. That's what I'm talking about. A whole combo. Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
Well, you're definitely right because I mean, when you think about it, when something's not going right on the inside, the outside's not going to work, and on the outside, it's like if you're homeless and you're not on like LA homeless, like where you're on a beach and you're just like, oh shit, I'm on a beach and it's not
Hmm.
snowing outside, then that can really affect your internal state if you don't
Hmm.
change it.
Hmm. Exactly.
Also has this magical question listed of how it aligns with entrepreneurship. So, what's probably been your experience that's really helped you to learn that lesson of how mind, body, and spirit align with entrepreneurship?
That was again being an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur since 2016. That's like about 4 years, and so being an entrepreneur, that like you come across, you encounter all these problems and obstacles and challenges, and so through myself, I because I guess because 2015 helped me to build that up. Um, when I did encounter certain things along the journey, I already knew kind of how to overcome certain things, right? Of course, was I perfect? Of course not. So I still have, and up to this day, I still have things to learn. I still have, you know, I always say like there's lesson and blessings and problems, and so you just got to look for them. And so every single time something happens, you kind of just have to look for that, and again, use it to build you, use it to build your mind, body, spirit, use it to build your strengths, and keep going. But what really made me realize it was the other entrepreneurs that I know, and so like certain friends and whatnot, and it's like I would see a lot of people quit on the journey and give up on the journey. And I realized, especially after speaking to a lot of them, it was because of that. Like they didn't have that resilience. They weren't in tuned or connected to their mind, body, and spirit in order to keep going. And so when challenge and obstacles came into their lives, they didn't know how to get through it. And so instead of, being strong and resilient and knowing how to go overcome these, knowing how to break through, they would give up easily. And so a lot of people who I knew started out as an entrepreneur ended up like not even lasting a year because they just couldn't handle the journey. And I think entrepreneurship can be built for a lot of people. It's just you got to build up your internal self first.
There you go. Got to get to that root right there. Yes, indeed. That internal.
Exactly. Yeah, the getting to the root is the most key too, I think. Like, and that's why I coach about, especially. So the first pillar that we talk about actually is acknowledge, and like that's the key thing, because that's when we get to the root of what is holding you back, right? Because you have to get to the root of like why your mindset is the way it is, why your emotions, why you feel that way, why you're not spiritually connected. You have to get to the root of why your life is the way it is. And that's what I had to do in 2015. I had to take a step back and like, okay, what is the root of this? And then obviously it always comes down to us, always comes down to the way we think, feel, the stuff that we believe, our habits and actions and behaviors. And so, yeah, getting to the root, I think, is so key. Like I talk about that. I've been talking about that for years. I still talk about that to this day. I think no matter what, no matter how big or small a problem is in your life, you have to get to the root of it in order to solve it, right?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Mhm.
Because that's how the tree really grows.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
right. Gotta,
Exactly.
that's right. Got to be deep in that ground.
Right? And I use that analogy too of like a flower, a plant, or a tree or something, because it's the same thing. It's like if you have a plant at home and you see it, starting to rot at the leaves or something, it's like you can't just expect to look at the leaves and figure out why it's rotting. You have to get to the root of the problem. You have to get to the root of the of the plant and see, okay, what's going on in the soil? Like what is the roots? Like what's happening? And it's the same thing with human beings.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hmm.
So that way one day we'll be able to give that good shade to people in the summertime, right?
Exactly. So you can blossom.
That's right. That too.
Hmm.
That's right. All the blossoms. And maybe
Yep.
buttercup too. Yes, indeed. Fabulous indeed.
Hmm.
So the beautiful thing is that you're a fellow millennial author who has been on the road for the past 6 years and counting since the book was published back in 2014. So
Mm.
what's probably next for you? Is there going to be another book down the road for you?
Yeah, for sure. So that was the first book I did in 2014. That one was called Stage Real People, Real Problems, Real Lives. And then I actually did another one in January 2018. And that one was The Root, How to Heal from the Hurt and Go Through the Dirt. And then my third one, I don't want to put out a date yet, but I'm hoping that it will be done in the spring. It is one of those ones where because usually I can write books like in a week to a month, but this one I want to take more time with it because it's more about spirituality, and it's more about connecting with your spiritual self, your spiritual identity, and all that, in order to exactly what we're talking about, kind of build that resilience, kind of find, kind of build your foundation in order, for you to know who you are. So that, again, because again, no matter, even if you're not an entrepreneur, life is going to always be up and down, but it's like, how can we smoothly go through those up and downs, right? And so this is what this book is kind of going to talk about. So yeah, so I'm working on the third book. It's definitely to release in either February, March 2020.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely going to be on the lookout for that one.
Thank you.
That's right. Going to have all five eyes looking for that one.
5. Oh man, why you say 5 eyes? That's so interesting.
Yeah, because when you have the third eye and you wear glasses, five eyes.
I hear you. I'm about to say yeah, because we only have 3 eyes, but yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it's like, oh shoot, my man's got a whole two other set of eyes. Like, shoot, it's like my man got some secret knowledge in a pyramid somewhere. Like, people talking about third eye. Like, this man
You
talking about
know,
the fifth eye.
I thought you were gonna say something like the 2 eyes in the back of your head. Some people say that as well.
Oh my god, I got 7 eyes now. Shoot, all right.
Hey man, that's a good thing though.
Oh man, oh, you just gave me a new weapon. All right, my corniness level is gonna soar now. This is good.
Hey, that's what I do.
There you go, Mrs. Right. It's up and you to soar, baby. That's right. Whether it's in the right direction or with pen in hand on a piece of paper, definitely in the right
Mhm,
direction.
for sure.
Sweet, sweet. So, since this upcoming book is going to be more spiritual, is there a specific nugget for spiritual development that you want to drop right now, or heck, even if you talk it out now, it might even go in the book later.
So one thing I always tell people is, when it comes to an activity, I definitely advocate for meditation. I feel like meditation is, you can do a lot of different things, but I think meditation is one of those, like, number one key things that you can and should do when it comes to like connecting with your internal self, connecting with your spirit, connecting with the universe. I think that's like, I just advocate for it, like, because I've seen the benefits. That's one of the things, again, I've been doing since 2015. That's one of the things that has changed my life dramatically. And so I advocate for that. Like, I feel like, especially for the people who feel like, who always say they can't, quote unquote can't, at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want to do, and you can't do whatever you want, like, you don't want to do. And so I think when it comes to meditation, it's definitely for those who feel like they can't do it, but I think across the board, everyone should definitely practice meditation when it comes to like connecting with your spiritual self. Another thing is self-reflection. Self-reflection is like one of the biggest things that I coach people on, because again, it's almost like talking about getting to the root of the problem, right? You got to self-reflect on yourself. You got to self-reflect on, your past, your present, your feelings, your beliefs, your habits, your thought patterns, all these kind of things. When you actually take time to sit back and self-reflect on who you are, self-reflect on what you've been doing, everything, like, there's so many different levels to it, right? But when you self-reflect, take the time to self-reflect, you'll see in yourself there's so many things that will come from that, because you'll learn so much about yourself. You'll learn so much about the past. You'll learn so much about why you are where you are in your life today, and why you're attracting certain things, or why you're emitting certain things. And so those are the two things that I definitely advocate for, is meditation and then self-reflection.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. That meditation.
Mm,
That's right.
powerful.
That's right. With a capital P. That's right. Extra powerful.
Right, right.
Oh, yeah. And that self reflection.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You look in the mirror and you be like, why you so mean, mirror? Why? Why? Uh, It's just meditation, mirror. Why? Let me stop.
And it's funny, I actually had a talk like that where I use like a mirror as a metaphor kind of thing. And I'm like, as an example, I should say. And I said, we all look into the mirror every single day, right? And so when we do, though, most of us, obviously, like we self-reflect on our external self. We self-reflect on our physical, but really you should use a mirror as like a mirror for your life, and self-reflect on your internal, right? And so I like using the mirror as an example, because again, we all self-reflect. It's just, what are you self-reflecting on? That's more important.
Oh, yes, indeed. Definitely right about that. And it is important too, because it's like reflection. It's like you really get to inventory, like your progress and where things
Exactly.
need to
Hmm.
change or things need to be different. Or like even just reflecting on past victories and just giving yourself that encouragement to keep
Hmm.
pushing
Yeah,
forward.
good and bad, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the mind with the black and white. It's either you put yourself in a box or get yourself out the box.
Right.
Oh, yes, indeed. Pun intended right there. Well, in all of your interviews, you've been asked a lot of questions. Is there a particular question that you wish interviewers would ask you more often?
Oh, that's interesting. Um, I don't know. That I would have to reflect on that one. I'm not sure, to be honest. I get different questions, and some of them are conversational based too. So, I'm not sure actually. I would have to reflect on that, but like I've been very open. I'm a very open person anyways, and like to always go with the flow. Um, so I almost just like kind of things are just is what it is in a sense. But that's a good question though. That one's a good question.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's kind of like Batman and Robin cover both ends. It's like, all right, is there something she's trying to mention that I haven't gotten out of her yet? Or is there another golden nugget that hasn't been revealed?
Hmm.
That's right.
Hmm.
That's right. The unveiling.
Hmm.
That's right. Got to take the veil off that knowledge. Woohoo! Well, since you're a fellow millennial and you coach millennials, in your experience thus far in living, what are three skills you believe that millennials should seek to master, or if not master already?
Hmm. It definitely comes back down to their mind, body, spirit. Like it really does. It really comes back to your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. I think that's one thing that everyone should master, millennial or not, because again, that's like everything's vibration, and our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our actions, everything's vibration. And so you need to master that, because that's how you will learn, why you're attracting certain things. That's how you will learn why you're emitting certain things, why certain situations are happening in your life. And so you got to master your mind. You got to master your feelings. You got to master your beliefs. You got to master you. Like it really just comes back down to you. And so once you are aware, once you are knowledgeable, once you are in tune with all those things, then life will be different for you. But if you continue to ignore this concept and ignore that the mind, body, and spirit, and how important it is, and how important these energy sources are, then you're just kind of going to go through life being clueless. You're going to go through life, continuously experiencing the same patterns or the same situations or the same challenges, attracting the same things, and you're just going to get more and more frustrated and more overwhelmed. And this is what leads a lot of people to depression and to anxiety and to, feeling very, very stressful, is because they don't take that time to master these things and to learn about these things. And so I think that's like very important, again, across the board. People actually really need to take the time to work on themselves. I think we can all get so caught up with the external world, social media, our friends, our family, our social circles, our work, our everything, but it's like, and not to say all these things aren't important, they are, but you are most important. And so I think everyone needs to learn first and foremost how to master themselves, how to really master their internal selves and really be in tune with that. Because again, once you change who you, then you can change the world. And so that's why, I really advocate for like internal well-being, like really focusing on us and really focusing on our mind, body, and spirit. Again, it's just important. Like I think it's just the most significant thing in the world.
Oh yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. Forget that S&M known as social media. That's right.
Right.
Uh,
I mean, social media is a great thing. I think it's a great tool. It can be very powerful, but again, there's just so many people on there who aren't mindful, who aren't conscious, and who aren't mastering their internal selves. And I feel like, imagine if the world was more like that, if more people in the world were on that vibration, on that level, social media would be different, the news would be different, media would be different, life would be different, the economy would be different. And that's why I think it's so important to talk about these things.
That's right. Make your own news. Yes, indeed. Let's make
Right.
our own news. Yes,
Mm,
indeed.
I like that. Yeah.
That's right. Give them the new thing, not the old thing. That's right. The old depressing thing.
Mm. But sometimes going through the old too also helps you to create the new, right? Because again, it's almost like coming down to the root of things and acknowledging things first, because you can't just sweep things under the rug. You actually gotta recognize what the dirt is, sweep it up, and then throw it away. And then you got new floors.
Oh, heck yeah. Like that history. Got to know that history so you don't repeat it, even though it always
Exactly.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. But we have the power to create new cycles, though.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
And not just the spin cycle.
Oh man.
Ain't he good?
Mm.
That's right. All the cycles. Well, and speaking of cycle, if you're to wake up tomorrow, and since your millennial is going to be different, if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 21, but this time in the current year of 2020, with all of your mass knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
To my 21 self. 21. What was I doing at 21? Oh, it's funny. Actually, 21 was, yeah, I think that was around 2012, 2013. Yeah. So I was already on the journey of wellness. I think the only advice I'll probably give myself those times is patience. Like, I would tell myself the power of patience and just understand that there is power in patience. I'm an Aries, so like, if anyone knows, Aries are very impatient people, and honestly, it just took me like maybe until 2 years ago to really acknowledge like the power of patience and the power in patience. So growing up, I was always like an impatient person with myself, with people, with life, and then it wasn't until 2 years ago, I would say, until like I really started to like really, tap into that aspect. And so, yeah, if there was anything I tell my 21-year-old self, was like to really focus on just being patient, being patient with myself, being patient with people around me, being patient with life, my goals, everything, just across the board.
Ah, so you're an Aries. When's your birthday?
April 4th.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, my mom's
Hmm.
an Aries too, so I was a little curious.
You are? What'd you say?
Oh, my mom's also an Aries.
Oh,
Yep, she's March 21st.
right when it starts.
That's right. The day after the
Hmm.
first day of spring.
Hmm.
Yes, indeed. So you're definitely in good company with the Aries. Yes, indeed. That's
Yeah,
right.
very powerful. I mean, we are the first of the signs, so.
Horns everywhere too.
Hey, it depends how you look at it. Horns represent what? Strength.
Oh yeah, they can represent that. Yes, indeed. I won't go any more south with that joke, but definitely, yeah, got to be more patient with yourself.
Oh man. But yes, you're right. Patience. Patience is key.
That's right.
Mhm.
Especially if you're a doctor.
Hmm. Especially if you're anything really, though, right? I mean, a parent, in relationships, in business, as an entrepreneur, patience really is a virtue. And I think people overlook and underestimate that saying, but like there really is power in patience, and when you tap into that, like, and you're actually really really patient, especially in law of attraction, and this is something too that, like, I see a lot of people complaining about when it comes to law of attraction and manifesting, is because they don't see it right away, because you see all these YouTubers saying, oh yeah, just manifest money overnight, but it's like, no, like, not to say it can't happen, for sure, I definitely believe in miracles and possibilities, but you have to also have patience. You have to have patience in everything, in all aspects of life, no matter what. And so, yeah, patience really is a virtue. I think people really need to tap into that more.
That's right. Hit it from behind if you have to. Just tap into it. That's right. Tap into
Hmm.
patience.
Hmm.
That's right. Just don't be so patient that you wake up one day and you got white hair. It's like
Yeah.
like the hair ain't gray. It's just plain snow white. Like, oh God, my hair's been on the coke. Like, oh God, no.
Hmm.
That's right.
That's, yeah, yeah.
Well, enough of my silliness. So, for those who want to keep in magical contact with the one and only Miss Wright, what's the best way for folks to keep in touch with
Mm. I like that, magical contact. Well, definitely, you guys can reach out to me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, at Brooke Write, or MS Brooke Write. And then also my website, which is flywithme.com, but it's FLHIGH with me.com. And yeah, you guys can find me on any of those platforms.
you? There you have it, folks. You can find her pinning stuff. You can find her flying with some angel wings without the dust. That's right, folks. That's right.
Mhm.
Slide into her DMs on her birthday. Give her a birthday gift.
Yes, sending me love is good. I love receiving and sending love. I think love is like one of the most powerful, greatest energies of all.
Oh, yeah. It conquers all, indeed.
Mhm, mhm,
That's right. Love is the real sword.
mhm. Yes, I love that. Exactly.
That so needs to go on a t shirt.
Right? I was just thinking that when you said it.
Oh, yeah. Great minds think alike.
Hmm.
That's right. The melanin chocolate connection. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Hmm.
We're both in that box of chocolates via a podcast that they're talking about, folks. That's right. Go on out there, buy copies of her book. Tell your friends, share it with your cat.
Yes. Spread the word.
That's right, indeed. Spread that word. She has
Mhm.
enough butter for everyone, y'all.
Enough chocolates.
Oh no, I can't have enough of that.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well, for those still listening, any parting words?
My parting words to you is this: just tap into yourself and don't be scared to. I think a lot of people fear the journey of internal change because they know that once they start to change within themselves, then their social circles change and then their life changes. And I think people fear what they lose. But what you need to acknowledge is how much you're going to gain from tapping in. And so don't be scared of what you'll lose. Be grateful for what you're about to gain, because it's going to be way more than you lose, and at the end of the day, it's good to lose some stuff anyway. It's good to lose, quote unquote, the negative things in life, the negative energies and people, thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and all that. And so, yeah, my parting words with you guys today is to just take some time to self-reflect, take some time to tap in, because you are so powerful. And once you tap in, you'll realize that.
How's it going, you showstopper? It's great that you enjoyed this episode of the Going North podcast. If you really enjoyed it, be sure to shoot the guest an email or head over to the social media pages and leave them a nice response that you heard them on the Going North podcast, so that way they can continue to be inspired to do great things. And be sure to share this podcast with others that you think would enjoy it as well, because we want to inspire as many people as possible to live their dreams, embrace them, and to do something positive.